Hey everyone, welcome back to Critical Coverage. Today, we need to talk about something that's impacting small businesses and everyday Americans in a massive way. Senator Josh Hawley recently took on Visa and MasterCard, calling them out for their monopolistic practices, insane profit margins, and the way they're squeezing small businesses while giving big corporations a break. This is a conversation we need to have, so stick around, hit that like button, and if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives on the biggest issues affecting your wallet.
On that point about Visa and MasterCard being successful businesses, I think you figured it out, haven't you? I mean, what's your profit margin, Mr. Patrick?
It's circa 50%.
Mr. Sheedy?
Slightly higher.
It's higher than 50% profit margin?
Slightly higher than MasterCard, yes.
Yeah, that's incredible. 50% profit margin. I mean, that's absolutely unbelievable. What's the answer to the Walmart question, by the way, that Senator Welch posed to you? What's Walmart's interchange fee that you negotiate with them?
I don't have it with me today.
You don't have any idea whatsoever? Is it higher or lower than 2.5%?
Walmart negotiates their rates based on the business that they do with us.
Meaning they're big, they're really big, they're gigantic, so they get a better deal than Mr. Callahan or most small businesses in Missouri. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, Senator, we have volume discounts that we offer to some merchants. I suspect Walmart is one of them. And I don't believe that it's commercially unreasonable to get an arrangement where in exchange for more volume, a merchant can qualify for lower rates?
Well, I'm sure it's not commercially unreasonable for Walmart, or certainly it's in their financial interest and in yours, but I doubt it's in Mr. Callahan's financial interest. And my question to you, Mr. Callahan, is when you've got Walmart and other major competitors getting charged much less than you are, why in the world would you stick with these guys? I mean, why is it that small businesses continue to use Visa and MasterCard when you're getting charged so much more?
It's in my opinion, it's a matter of convenience for the customer, and customers matter to our business.
Maybe is it?
Let's start with the numbers. Visa and MasterCard are operating with profit margins north of 50%. That's unheard of in most industries. Yet, they claim they need to keep fees high because competition would hurt them? Sounds a little suspicious, doesn't it? Think about it. If small businesses in your community are paying way more in swipe fees than mega corporations like Walmart, what does that do? It makes it harder for them to survive. If you've ever wondered why your local store struggles while the big guys dominate, this is part of the reason.
That Visa and MasterCard are effectively monopolies? They control 80% of the market?
Certainly part of the
80% of the market? I'm just having a hard time understanding, Mr. Sheedy and Mr. Patrick, you have a business model, you're making over 50% profit margin. You are able to give the shaft to small businesses. Estimated cost to Missouri businesses from these fees is $1.5 billion. That's with a B, billion dollars a year. Why aren't all of these businesses running away from this model? Because they don't have a choice, because you control so much of the market. This is classic monopolistic behavior, and yet your testimony here today is you don't want any competition. You have 80% of the market, but you don't want any more competition. I'm having a hard time finding that position defensible, let alone sympathetic. I mean, it's unbelievable the amount of money that you're making. It's unbelievable what you're charging small businesses and consumers, and yet your testimony is, please, we can't possibly have any competition. I mean, let's talk about what you're doing to consumers who hold your cards. Last year, as I understand it, there were 726 million Visa and MasterCard credit cards issued in the United States. That's about 2 for every 1 person in the United States of America. Do either of you know how much debt is owed on your networks, Ms. Kirkpatrick?
We're not the bank, so we don't have visibility into that information. We also don't generate revenue from interchange.
Oh, okay, you have no idea. Mr. Sheedy, do you know?
I don't know.
Well, let me help you out. Let's have a look. It's $1.17 trillion. $1.17 trillion is what consumers now owe on your credit card networks. Do either of you know what the average interest rate is on your networks? Mr. Kirkpatrick?
Oh, Senator, we're not the bank. We don't set the interchange.
I know,
we don't
but
set
you
the
benefit
rates
from it, and you know. Do you know what it is? This is your business model.
We don't collect revenue from
Mr.
interest
Sheedy,
rates.
do you know?
I don't, Senator.
I mean, do either of you read the newspaper? Forbes magazine just estimated last week that the average credit card APR in your networks is 28.75%. Average. 29%, let's call it. 29%. It's nearly doubled in the last 4 years. That is astounding, absolutely astounding. And you just testified a second ago that you've got more than 50% profit margin, and yet your testimony here today is you can't possibly survive if there's any competition. How can that be true? How can that be true? You've got debt like we've never seen before in American history. Your profit margins are as high or higher than they've ever been. You have 80% of the relevant market in the credit card interchange fees that we're talking about, and yet you couldn't survive if there's any competition? What am I missing? That's not a rhetorical question. How is it that you can't do any better?
Senator, we like competition very much. As my colleague from MasterCard mentioned, we don't loan money to consumers. That's the job of the banks. I will say, as it relates to small business, we care very much. And the pandemic was difficult on small business more than anyone. In 2022, we lowered rates for 90% of small businesses in the United States. I also think that many of the security and the digital features that have been put in the network help small businesses.
Wait a minute, but wait a minute.
Here's the deal. Small businesses have no choice but to accept Visa and MasterCard. These two companies control 80% of the credit card market, meaning they call the shots. Hawley asked the tough question, why don't small businesses just walk away? And the answer, they can't. Small businesses rely on credit card transactions to stay competitive. But while big businesses negotiate special low rates, small businesses get slammed with high fees. The result? More money out of their pockets and ultimately higher prices for all of us. Now let's talk about the staggering amount of debt sitting on Visa and MasterCard networks, $1.17 trillion. Yeah, you heard that right. Over $1 trillion in consumer debt with average credit card interest rates at nearly 29%. So let's break this down. These companies are making massive profits, keeping competitors out of the market, charging small businesses more, and at the same time, hitting everyday Americans with sky-high interest rates. Sounds fair, right? And if you think this is wrong, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button right now because we're going to keep exposing these issues and fighting for fairer policies.
You've increased the swipe fees consistently in the last few years. You've raised them, even as your network has expanded. Even as your profit margins have gone up, you've raised the swipe fees. And in terms of competition, you are paying competitors not to enter the market. The DOJ lawsuit says that you threaten retailers with staggering financial penalties. That's a quote, staggering financial penalties if they use a competitor, and you're paying Apple and Square and others not to compete in your market. You've got 80% market share, and you are paying off would-be competitors not to come into the market while you charge people like Mr. Callahan, who knows how much more than big entities like Walmart.
It gets worse. According to the DOJ lawsuit, Visa and MasterCard are allegedly paying off competitors like Apple and Square to keep them from entering the market. And they're even threatening retailers with staggering financial penalties if they try to offer alternative payment options. So not only do they dominate the market, but they also actively stop competition. And yet when asked in the hearing if they welcome competition, their response, we like competition. Yeah, sure you do. Here's the bottom line. This can't continue. Small businesses are getting crushed, consumers are drowning in debt, and credit card companies are making record profits while shutting out competition. Senator Hawley is calling for change, and honestly, we should all be paying attention. Whether it's capping insane interest rates or forcing real competition, something has to give. If you agree, smash that like button, drop a comment below, and let me know your thoughts.
I mean, this is just classic collusive monopoly behavior. And your testimony is you can't accept any more competition. I agree with one thing that my colleagues down the dais have said, which is that this is not a sustainable situation. It is not sustainable. This has to change. $1.17 trillion in debt, this has to change. And I'll just end with this, Mr. Chairman. I thought one of the best proposals that the President-elect Trump, made during his last campaign, his most recent campaign, was to cap the interest rates of credit cards. So we could do that. We could do this and that. I think it's a great idea. I don't know why 30%, 30% interest rate should be charged on debt like this. I don't understand it. And I don't understand why you won't accept the most smallest modicum of competition when it comes to these retailer fees. And I'm just here to tell you, this will not stand. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Should Congress step in and regulate these monopolies? What's the best way to fix this broken system? Let's get the conversation going. And don't forget, subscribe for more content like this so we can keep holding these companies accountable. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.